Your heart is racing, your palms are sweating. You haven't moved from your chair in 3 hours, but your body is acting like you're running for your life. There's no lion, there's no cliff edge. There's just an email that says the report is due at 5 p.m. But the real answer is far stranger than you are stressed. Your brain cannot tell the difference between a deadline and a predator. And once you see why, you'll never look at a Sunday night the same way again. 200 years ago, your ancestors lived in a world with real, immediate threats. A rustle in the grass, a shadow on the ridge, a stranger from another group. Their bodies evolved one job above all others: detect danger fast and react faster. Thinking slowly got you killed. So the brain built a shortcut. A part of it, called the amygdala, sitting deep behind your eyes, learned to sound the alarm before you even consciously understood what you were looking at. Here's the shortcut in action. Light hit your eyes, information splits into two paths. One path goes to your thinking brain, the cortex, which takes its time, gathers context, makes a judgment call. The other path goes straight to the amygdala. It's faster, it's cruder, and it doesn't wait for permission. Within milliseconds, before you've even registered what you saw, your amygdala can already flood your brain with stress hormones. This is the discovery that changed how scientists understood fear itself. In the 1990s, neuroscientist Joseph Ledoux mapped this exact pathway in the brain, and he called it the low road, a shortcut from the eyes to the amygdala that bypasses conscious thought entirely. It's why you jump at a shadow before you know it's just your coat on a hook. Your amygdala already decided it was a threat. Your thinking brain is still catching up. Now here's where it gets strange. This ancient alarm system doesn't know what year it is. It doesn't know the difference between a lion in the grass and a red notification on your phone. All it knows is something demands your attention right now, and the stakes feel high. And a deadline checks every box. It's sudden, it's threatening, it has a countdown. Your amygdala reads, due Friday, the exact same way it would read a growl in the dark. So your body does what it has always done. It calls in backup. This is where a second system takes over. One first described by physiologist Walter Cannon back in the 1920s. He called it the fight or flight response. Your hypothalamus sends a signal down to your adrenal glands, which dump adrenaline into your bloodstream within seconds. Your heart rate climbs, your breathing quickens, blood moves away from your digestive system and toward your muscles. You are quite literally being prepared to sprint from a predator that does not exist. But adrenaline is fast and short-lived. For a real chase, 20 seconds, maybe a minute, it's perfect. For a deadline that looms for 3 days, it's useless. So your body reaches for a second hormone, one built for the long haul: cortisol. Cortisol is slower to rise and slower to fall. It keeps your blood sugar elevated so you have constant fuel. It sharpens short-term focus, it suppresses functions your body considers non-essential in a crisis, like immune response and long-term memory formation. For a few hours, this makes you sharp, alert, almost superhuman. But your ancestors never needed cortisol running for 3 days straight. You do it every single week. This is the part that should genuinely worry you, and also strangely comfort you. Endocrinologist Hans Sell spent decades studying what happens when a stress response doesn't turn off. He called it general adaptation syndrome, and it moves in 3 stages: alarm, where the body mobilizes; resistance, where the body tries to maintain that heightened state; and exhaustion, where the system finally breaks down from running the emergency response for too long. Sound familiar? That's not a personal failing. That's biology doing exactly what it was built to do, aimed at a threat it was never designed for. Here's a twist most people never hear. Your body doesn't just react to the deadline itself. It reacts to the anticipation of the deadline. Neuroscientist Bruce McEwen spent much of his career studying something he named allostatic load, the cumulative wear your body takes from repeatedly activating stress systems, even when the threat never physically touches you. You don't need the lion to bite you. Your body pays a price just from expecting it might. Think about what that means. Every Sunday night, dreading Monday, every notification ping before you've opened the app, every "we need to talk" text with no context attached. None of these are lions. Not one of them can actually hurt you the way a predator could. But your amygdala doesn't check your job title before it decides to sound the alarm. It just fires, and your adrenal glands listen. Why would evolution leave this flaw in? Because for nearly all of human history, it wasn't a flaw. A stress response that fires a little too often, on a false alarm now and then, still kept you alive far more reliably than one that fires too late on a real threat. Better to flinch at a coat on a hook 1,000 times than to freeze once in front of an actual predator. Your ancestors who survived were the ones with jumpy alarm systems. You are descended from the anxious ones, not the calm ones. So what do you actually do with a brain built for lions when your life is full of Slack messages? The scientists who study this point to one detail that matters more than people expect. Your amygdala can't tell a deadline from a predator, but it can be taught to recalibrate, slowly, through repetition. Every time you sit with a stressor and your body realizes, a few minutes later, that you survived, that pathway gets a tiny bit of new information. You didn't die. The alarm was a false one. Do this enough times in small doses, and the wiring itself begins to shift. This is essentially what modern exposure-based therapies are built on, teaching an ancient system a new lesson, one rep at a time. There's also a simpler, almost funny piece of this puzzle. Physical movement, the kind your ancestors would have actually done after a stress spike, running, fighting, climbing, tells your body the danger is past and metabolizes the adrenaline and cortisol spike already in your system. Sitting perfectly still at your desk, stress hormones flooding your blood with nowhere to go is possibly one of the strangest things you can do to a body built to sprint or fight in exactly this moment. Your ancestors never sat still with a threat. You do it every day. Here's a reframe worth sitting on. That racing heart before a presentation isn't weakness. It isn't a sign something is wrong with you. It's 200,000 years of survival instinct, perfectly calibrated for a world of teeth and claws, doing its absolute best with the only tools it has, aimed at a world of inboxes and quarterly reviews. The system isn't broken. It's simply centuries behind the calendar it's being asked to read. So tonight, when the notification buzzes and your stomach drops before you even read it, remember what's actually happening underneath your skin. There's no lion. There never was. But somewhere behind your eyes, a much older version of you is already scanning the grass, bracing to run, certain that this time, it's real.